Okay, welcome. So today I am going to be talking about speaking to a leading pediatrician, Claudia M. Gold, the author of this book, Power of Discord, a couple of days ago, and just about what we spoke about, and this idea of childhood trauma, attachment theory, discord, and this idea that we need messiness, we need discord in our relationships, and then repair in order for us to have really resilient, strong relationships. And we also talked quite a bit about boarding school and just how we miss a lot of these stages. So I'll talk a little bit about that today. So enjoy. So yeah, I had a really fascinating conversation with Claudia a few days ago. So the episode will go live on Friday. And yeah, we talked about this idea that, in childhood, certainly as an ex-boarder or maybe someone who's been through trauma, you get a sense that messiness is a bad thing. And what she talks about in this book is this idea that we need messiness, but then we need repair. So what that means is you might have a dispute or she calls it a mismatch or something goes on, but then you repair. If you think of a big family, you might have disputes, but then they're resolved like that very quickly. And yeah, so we're just talking a little bit about that, and she's saying that that's what builds strong relationships. It's not that we don't have conflict. It says, no, we need that discord. And yeah, it's a really fascinating book. If you've not read it, then I really do recommend reading this. And she's a leading pediatrician, so she's worked with children, especially children's mental health, for many years. I think over 20 years she's been working as a pediatrician. And I was just pointing out that, say, for boarding school, we often miss that messiness with our parents because, we might have had something happen to us at school and then we go back to the boarding house. And it might be we only see them every 3 weeks, every 6 weeks. And therefore they don't realize the messiness that has gone on. And she's saying we need as many of those when we're growing up as possible with our parents or with caregivers. And although we didn't really talk about this, I see personally in boarding school is that, messiness wasn't really allowed. It was almost like conflict wasn't really allowed there. You'd often be sent to Coventry rather than there being this mismatch and repair, having these benevolent adults kind of keeping an eye. It almost felt like, we weren't, something went on, we weren't able to grieve. And she talks about that a bit. Prince Harry, Princess Diana, showing that in his late teens, Prince Harry, he went off the rails, drinking, partying. And then, reading some of his interviews, she's saying that, he then worked through a lot of his issues, his grief, with a great therapist, psychotherapist, and therefore he was able to heal. And I think sometimes, maybe that's something I really learned from this discussion, is this idea that at boarding school we have the messiness on one level, but there's not the repair. We might have had some trauma, but we don't then have a chance to speak to it because we've got to keep it within. So she was just sharing the importance of different ways of healing. Maybe it's through movement, dance, maybe it's through therapy, maybe it's through group work, maybe it's exercise or martial arts. I thought that was really fascinating. She's saying it's not a one-pronged approach, it's a multi-pronged approach, healing post-trauma. But yeah, I thought it was really fascinating. So I really recommend, if you're, interested in childhood trauma, mental health, childhood mental health, and also how that links into boarding school, to watch it, because she's a brilliant mind. She's a really brilliant mind, and she was able to unpick some things for me to go, whoa, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, so that's basically it. You know, I will put the episode live on the Friday, about midday UK time, and yeah, recommend watching and seeing that. Just love these different perspectives. So she's based in the US, and this idea of, okay, maybe someone who is has a different viewpoint to what I've read, mainly UK-based therapists, about childhood trauma. So yeah, recommend watching it. So thank you. I hope that helps. And I've got a few podcasts lined up the next month or so, talking to a lady who I was at school with about co-educational uh, co-educational boarding schools, um, you know, and also talking more about the environment with a guy called Kevin Albin, and also speaking to a man called Sean Chamberlain about the future. He's one of the founders of Transition Towns, which is a movement in the UK setting up networks of what happens, um, you know, 5-10 years if there is an economic collapse. What can we do? So that's also going to be a fascinating conversation. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and yeah, take care. Blessings.